down your block, boy. Bass beating down your block, boy. All I hang around is block boys. In my pocket, that's a knot, boy. Think you hot, but you not, boy. Bass beating down your block, boy. Bass beating down your block, boy. Bass beating down your block, stunting.
Yo, YouTube, we got another, reaction video of new Rockstars Deadpool Wolverine trailer breakdown. I didn't get to watch this, so we're gonna check this out. Since we, Deadpool and Wolverine is, they're starting to run trailers and all this other stuff, press runs and all that. So I'm gonna check this out since I didn't get to watch this after the last Deadpool. I think it was the official trailer. Yeah, the official trailer. So we're gonna check this out with our boy Eric Voss over at New Rockstars. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, let's get into it.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a frame-by-frame breakdown of the new trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. I scrubbed through this trailer to find every Easter egg you might have missed, and thank Marvel Jesus that I took my time with this, because there are dozens of details hidden in between the obvious highlight cameos that I can't believe are hidden in this trailer. I'm gonna cover it all for you, and you can support New Rockstars with one of our Deadpool and Wolverine shirts or one of our other Marvel designs.
Yo. This one, the Gambit one's fire, but this Deadpool Wolverine jumping out of the portal is
over at nerdriot.shop.
So
all right, let's get started.
So good.
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Okay, so the trailer opens in a bar in where else? Canada! There are Canadian flags hanging throughout the bar. There's also a Calgary Flames logo over Deadpool's shoulder. Canada is obviously important to Ryan Reynolds, where he comes from, but in the universe, it is the origin point and the refuge of Wolverine when he wants to go off the grid. This shot approaching Logan from behind reminds us of the shot of Logan from the Wolverine Insomniac game trailer. And just to the right of Logan on this bar top is this jar with a label. Just put the tip in, see how it feels. And I'm pretty sure those are blue condoms in the jar. So obviously it's a sex joke, but this bar,
the tip in, see how it feels. Is crazy.
Is double dipping on collecting tips while encouraging safe sex, which I imagine is completely lost on the barflies we see in the background of this bar. Of course, we often see Wolverine in bar fights, from the 2000 X-Men film when he severed that shotgun to 2011's X-Men First Class when he told Charlie.
By the way, just real quick, I'm gonna start doing movie reactions, cause I've been wanting to go back and rewatch the Fox X-Men movies, so I'm gonna be doing that, watching the Matt Reeves Planet of the Apes. I'm gonna do a Marvel marathon at some point, and yeah, I got stuff planned for that, but be on the lookout for movie reactions and TV show reactions. Yeah, so but there might be some that won't probably make a cut because I've started watching that or seen it already, like recently. So, but yeah, but be on the lookout.
Charles and Eric to go f themselves, to the 2013 bar fight with the dudes who killed that bear, and then the removed ending scene from the 2013 film that would have called back that same bar in the 2000 X-Men film. But I'm wondering, could this bar fight be the man with metal claws fights in bar brawl from the headline in She-Hulk? You'll notice Hugh Jackman in this movie has similar hair length and appearance to that 2013 James Mangold Wolverine film, which after the first three X-Men films and 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine was really the first to reconceive Logan as a more grounded, tortured human just struggling with his aging body. And as I watch this trailer, I'm just reminded of how good
I actually like the Wolverine. I don't know how many people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed the Wolverine. That one was a really good story of like basically It's I lost my train of thought. Hold on. I really enjoyed the Wolverine. I really enjoyed the story of Wolverine, of going to Japan and getting his adamantium stolen, and he's having to deal with basically somebody stealing his. I mean, stealing the adamantium. I think what the adamantium helped the healing factor even be stronger. So you're having to deal with that while stopping a adamantium ninja. I don't know. I really enjoyed that story. It was like it really felt like a Wolverine like out the comic books type of story. Days of Future Past, I really enjoyed. I like that. We got Hugh Jackman we got Logan to go back in time and basically try to convince Professor X to do something to stop Magneto, so they won't cause the Sentinels to rise. So there's really good X-Men movies that I really enjoy. Like, I really want to go back and do a rewatch. So.
Of an actor Hugh Jackman is and how much he's bringing to this movie. Now, this bartender tells Logan that he's not welcome here, he's not welcome anywhere. It's not really clear if Logan is being discriminated against as a mutant or if this bartender knows that he's Wolverine and that Wolverine disappointed mutant kind by letting a lot of the mutants die. Or, Logan could just be some asshole who doesn't pay his tab. But this bartender is played by Greg Hemphill, actor and writer from Still Game, but notice how his audio doesn't match what the bartender actually seems to be doing here.
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere.
Yeah, notice how you don't really see his mouth move? And if he's cutting Logan off from drinks, why does this bartender reach for the whiskey to pour him another round? Really, I just think the bartender does say these words, it's just in a different part of the scene. And they're using trailer editing to reconstruct it here. Now, the new poster released for this film on Sunday evoked the poster for the 2017.
It's dumb. Look at it.
To reconstruct it here. Now, the new
yeah, it's the subtle. It's just, I don't know why. It's subtle. Just the finger just touching the glass. Bro, bro. See, this is marketing right here, bro.
Poster released for this film on Sunday evoked the poster for the 2017 Logan film, the one that had X-23 Laura's hand grabbing one of Wolverine's claws, and this poster has Deadpool kind of flirtingly stroking it with his finger. So despite Ryan Reynolds promising that they would not touch the events of the Logan film, they are totally going there. And remember, the reason things were so nightmarish in that 2017 Logan film is that we learned in that movie that anti-mutant toxins had been fed into the food supply through corn syrup. But if Logan's diet consists mostly of aged whiskey, there's no way tainted corn syrup would have gotten into those barrels.
Is that is that what happened to the mutants in Logan?
Anti-mutant toxins had been fed into the food supply through corn syrup, but if
that's a dangerous way to take them out, huh? Damn, that's actually a more efficient way than the Sentinels. What the fuck?
Logan's diet consists mostly of aged whiskey. There's no way tainted corn syrup would have gotten into those barrels, especially if it was aged whiskey. So our man's really 12 steps ahead, and he's probably gonna need to get started on the other 12 steps. And I like how Deadpool calls Logan Peanut, which is the nickname Scott Lang calls his daughter Cassie. And there is a giant Ant-Man corpse in this trailer, and I don't really know if it's connected, but we'll talk about it more later. Let's move on.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy daisy. Here we go. Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your forehead, I suggest you reconsider.
Okay, so Logan tells Deadpool, look, lady, I'm not interested, which seems like a dig at Deadpool's slim figure, but the Super Bowl trailer included a brief shot of Deadpool's gloves firing Uzis, and those were different gloves than what Deadpool normally has in this trailer, which makes us think that the rumors that we will see a lady Deadpool could be true, and that she might be played by Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively. Deadpool says that he's sort of on the tick-tick, and remember, with this new suit, Deadpool would have just come directly from the TVA, and he may have run into Miss Minutes, and he's kind of got a TVA time clock and missed minutes on his mind. But Wolverine's adamantium claws only extend about an inch out of his knuckles, which Wade cannot help but make an erectile dysfunction joke about. And in 2017's Logan, his opening fight with the thugs at the road stop has a similar moment where 2 out of his 3 claws extend almost fully, but the 3rd one just gets jammed, embarrassingly. Deadpool points his gun at Logan's head, and you can see "Smile, wait for the flash" engraved on the tip. Cool. And I like how Logan leans into the gun with a smile forming on his face as if he's obeying these instructions and waiting patiently for the bang. Wolverine has taken shots to the head before, like in X2 from the Boston PD, where his healing ability pushed the bullet back out, or in X-Men Origins of Wolverine, where Stryker shot him with an adamantium bullet that wiped his memories. In the 2017 Logan film, he carries around another adamantium bullet, which is implied will kill him, especially when X-23 Laurie uses it to kill Logan's adult X-24 clone. But whether memory loss or certain death, Wolverine welcomes either result. Let's move on.
Oh, that suit looks so good.
I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about.
The fact that we get sleeveless Wolverine and sleeve Wolverine. Oh my god! Because either way, they both look good. Like,
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
Okay, so we can't really play it for you because it's licensed music, but the music we hear throughout this trailer is Madonna's Like a Prayer, a 1989 title that was meant to be a reference to her breakout earlier hit, Like a Virgin. But for this song, Madonna's lyrics were meant to show her maturation with gospel elements, a song told from the point of view of a girl declaring her love for God, the only man in her life. But whether or not Madonna and her songwriter meant it sincerely or kind of, you know, like subvertively, we'll never know. But the music video for Like a Prayer featured a black Jesus being crucified in kind of this flirty relationship with Madonna. And narratively in the music video, this Jesus was a scapegoat, falsely arrested after a bunch of white men killed a white woman. And this music video was very controversial. A number of religious groups, including the Vatican, condemned it. But Ryan Reynolds, I believe, uses the song of Like a Prayer.
that's hilarious. They condemned it, but they're praying to. There's pictures and video of them praying to a black figure. Kind of hypocritical, if I had to say.
In a few different ways in this trailer. One, he kind of uses it with this ironic wink, as it is an 80s pop ballad, contrasting this aggressively violent, virile energy of this trailer. But it does kind of feel like Wade is embracing the only man in his life as Wolverine stands over Deadpool, kind of like a god finding a soul in the afterlife. But also, obviously, the song reflects the idea of Deadpool himself being Marvel Jesus. Now, what does he really mean by saying he's Marvel Jesus? I don't think he means he's like a hero or a god, but really like a sacrificial sin eater. I think it means that Deadpool's gonna try to take the place of Logan and every other Marvel anchor whose death results in the death of the universe. Someone online have pointed out that this day, 36 years ago, April 22nd, 1989, Like a Prayer topped the Billboard charts, beginning a 6-week run. But Ryan Reynolds responded saying,
why would, like, I understand why, but like, are you trying to like get rid of Deadpool forever? Wouldn't that be some type of weird anchor that would break also? Or no?
in that totally was not planned. Okay, we move on.
And would that introduce that there's different worlds that has a certain characters or characters that have anchors that would, if they get killed, it causes some type of disruption in that world or in time and space itself, something like that?
Onto the dusty wasteland of the Void, or just what we assume is the Void, because it does have like a different vegetation than what we saw in Loki episode 5. Once again, we see the partially submerged 20th century Fox logo, and the X of the word Fox remains visible above the ground. As in Fox's X-Men movies, they often would linger the X for a few frames on the opening fades to black. And ever since Disney's buyout of Fox, the division has been forced to drop the Fox and just go by 21st century. Also visible in this place is the tip of Toronto CN Tower, obviously another Canada reference. Okay. There's also the stern of this vessel. I was trying to figure out what this was. I was wondering maybe it's the shell of the USS Eldridge from Loki episode 5 when Elias devoured it. Or maybe it's the helicarrier where Deadpool fought Francis in the 2016 Deadpool.
It could be.
Either way, this is a pretty small ship. It's not like, you know, the stern of the Titanic or something. And behind the 20th Century Fox logo, there's some mountain peak that we were not able to see before in past trailers. I'm wondering maybe this is like Woundagore Mountain, you know, the one where the Scarlet Witch supposedly died. Behind Wolverine, there is some kind of airship crashed into the mountainside. I was thinking maybe the Hindenburg if it didn't explode, or maybe it's that Hydra Zeppelin that we saw for a few frames in that alternate reality in Multiverse of Madness when Doctor Strange and America Chavez were just like tumbling through reality after reality. You know, like the 12 seconds when Multiverse of Madness actually lived up to his title. Logan walks
it's
through
like,
this.
even if it's not that, the fact that he could tie that to that balloon, air balloon, ship from Multiverse of Madness is crazy. Damn.
It's Wheatfield gladiator style with this row of endless pillars. These seem to be monuments or headstones for fallen X-Men, but the fact that they're all in a row at least reminded me, as a Lost fanatic, of that sonic frequency perimeter fence that kept out the smoke monster from one side of the island to the other.
I didn't think it was a graveyard. I thought it was like a fence.
I was thinking, hey, maybe this barrier could be in the void to keep Alioth out. But like, looking at how surreal this imagery is, this isn't the same part of the void that we see Alioth in the rest of the trailer. Looking more closely at these columns, each one kind of has almost a pyramid structure, and there's this like vertical insert that is carved into the sides, and within each insert, in those shadows, you can see some kind of disc that I assume might be the plaque referring to the name that each statue memorializes. And I want to say that these columns almost look like the Sentinel ships from the opening prologue of X-Men Days of Future Past. So maybe each one of these is for a different X-Men who was killed by a Sentinel or something like that. But if this isn't the void, I wonder if this could be that kind of third act flashback that Deadpool jokes about in the other part of the trailer. Like, this could be a moment where Cassandra Nova projects Logan into the astral plane to make him
Bro, 2 hours and I'm sorry, I'm just realizing 2 hours and 10 minutes is not enough. Like, I get it's enough to tell a story, but like, it just sounds short
for all the X-Men that he allowed to die, because it's just so dreamlike and surreal. It kind of feels like the kind of thing that when we see the 90s X-Men animated series, like when characters are taken to the astral plane, it tends to be more surreal and metaphorical like this. All right, let's move on.
2 hour 20-minute movie. I'll even take that.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go yourself.
Okay, TVA agent Paradox, played by Matthew McFadden, says this Wolverine let down his entire world. And we see Wolverine face down on the floor of the TVA. So yeah, this is a one shot in both the trailers we've seen so far of Wolverine inside of the TVA. And notice how Paradox has taken a blow to the face with a band-aid covering a broken nose. So who is this Wolverine? I think we're looking.
I think what happened, Wolverine, Wolverine, I feel like it's either Wolverine or Deadpool punched him in his nose and broke his nose, like on some like Fast and Furious shit where Paul Walker punched that agent's nose. And that was like the ongoing bit that like something would happen to his nose and it would like be broken.
Looking at a Wolverine from a different timeline who failed to stop a grisly fate of all the X-Men. It could have been a mutant massacre on Genosha by Cassandra Nova, or like a part of the timeline after the events of Days of Future Past where the X-Men all started wearing these brightly colored suits that were comic accurate, or maybe some incursion wiped them all out. It's worth noting that in the Genosha massacre in X-Men 97, the Watcher was overseeing it, suggesting some kind of multiversal importance to this event. I just want to remind everyone that
or somebody, there was a theory that Mysterio might have there's a comic run where Mysterio tricks Logan into killing I think that's the plot line for Old Man Logan, but or one of the plot lines, but Mysterio puts an illusion over Logan where he thinks he's fighting his villains, but he's fighting the X-Men and ends up killing all of them. So that was another theory for what might have happened to them.
Despite the Fox X-Men films seeming to have forked into 3 to 4 different timelines and it all being kind of confusing to the viewers, one thing that I learned from my rewatch is that from Fox's perspective at least, they considered these movies to all be part of one shared history, a history that was weird but then got fixed or retconned by the events of Days of Future Past, and that in their eyes, First Class Generation, who we saw in X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men Dark Phoenix, would have aged into the OG cast, but then just kind of lived on a different but normal, typical X-Men life path that would have led to the ending we saw in Days of Future Past, and then onto Logan, and that at this point in history, Mr. Sinister would have arisen as the big bad, who was behind this vast plot to experiment on mutants as the rest of mutant kind was bred out of the population through the food supply, but we just never got to see this Mr. Sinister plan because Disney bought Fox before a New Mutants sequel could have led to an Inferno Goblin Queen movie. That was the original plan. So this Wolverine character could have come from that Fox timeline if it were allowed to live on and didn't end in the 2017 Logan film. Or he could come from an entirely new timeline that we haven't spent a lot of time in. Maybe the X-Men universe that Monica Rambeau ended up in at the end of the Marvels. One that looks a lot more like the colorful X-Men animated series. So we see
People said that the Beast CGI wasn't good, but like I disagree. I think that CGI wasn't that bad. Like I think everybody's so used to the practical prosthetics that in my opinion, I didn't like the practical prosthetics because it didn't look like. I thought the Beast, I thought at least the Beast from the newer X-Men movie was at least a lot closer than the prosthetics from the old X-Men movies. But like that one right there in the Marvels at the as the end credit scene, I thought was like on point. So I don't know what people are talking about. I don't know.
Great Wolverine Deadpool combat here. Wolverine swipes his claws at Deadpool, who ducks the blows. And behind Wolverine, an older ship with 3 masts and rigging is visible. We did see a similar vessel in Loki episode 5 that I speculated could be the Santa Maria that was Columbus's flagship that struck a reef off the coast of present-day Haiti, and its wreckage was never recovered. And then on the far left, looks like a red and white striped circus tent. And since Hugh Jackman in this movie, I'm just gonna assume that it has to with the Greatest Showman. Wolverine plunges his claws into Deadpool's crotch. Youch! Deadpool fires his guns into Wolverine's sides, and then Wolverine flips his head back right into Deadpool's face, and for a single frame, you can see that the butts of Deadpool's adamantium katanas are initialed DR. Trying to figure out what this is, maybe like Deadpool and Ryan. For what it's worth, in the past, Ryan Reynolds has said that his swords, at least his old ones, before these adamantium ones, those were named B and Arthur because Deadpool loves B. Arthur. So we see Wade sitting with Logan in this restaurant, and I love how Wade still has the staples in his head with chunks of hair from where his hairpiece was attached.
Oh, is that what that was? That is staples.
And I love how Wade...
I thought it was like, I don't know, weird like thumbtacks.
Still has...
Or not thumbtacks, but like weird, I don't know, some type of like sticky tack or whatever.
Staples in his head with chunks of hair from where his hairpiece was attached before the TVA hunter ripped it off. And Wade wonders if we'll get to what's haunting Wolverine in a third act flashback, which is really just like a screenwriting trope in which they'll try to humanize the antagonist during the film's climax, like Anton Ego in Pixar's Ratatouille, that Campbell's Soup ad parody. And by the way, there is a theory that the reason the Ratatouille recipe works so well on Anton is that the farmhouse where Remy first glimpsed some recipes with the old woman who shoot him away was the same furniture of the farmhouse that young Anton lived in that flashback, and that Remy was actually making Anton's mom's recipe. But anyway, Ryan Reynolds has always sought to subvert these.
Was that his mom then, or was that some, or is that somebody who just moved in the house, or was that his grandma or something? I don't know.
Screenwriting structural tropes, and with the 2016 Deadpool, he kind of interwove Wade's flashback throughout the film in the first and second act, really just leave the third act as all action. And with Cable in Deadpool 2, he revealed what was haunting Cable with his introduction in Act 2. But Wolverine's response is, go f yourself, which is the iconic line he says to Charles and Magneto in X-Men First Class.
Go f yourself.
Okay, so we're just gonna break down the rest of the trailer because there's like Madonna music in it and they're gonna flag us. So Deadpool and Wolverine round a corner past this cart for donuts, bagels, and churros, like the churro carts of Disneyland. There's a neon sign for a bar called Copperheads, and in Marvel Comics there is a Serpent Society villain named Copperhead. Not sure if it's related. You'll notice that Wolverine is now no sleeves, baby, and he looks a lot like he did in the 90s animated series version of the character, down to the red X belt buckle. Yet he doesn't have a mask, and he did take off like the shoulder pad armor parts. He just tore off everything that was there. Reportedly, Hugh Jackman was worried about skin cancer on his arms, which is something that he has dealt with before. So in the exterior shots, over in the dust of the void, the sleeves are on, whereas this setting looks covered. And it might just be me, but I know Hugh Jackman is incredibly jacked, but his arms, maybe they're just hairless, but they do kind of look really smooth. So maybe he's wearing some kind of sleeves, but also I obviously don't know how arms like that are supposed to look. Deadpool is now carrying gold.
So now that's making me question: is that his actual arms or is that CG?
Golden guns, which I think might be a reference to the dual golden guns of Face Off. Face Off definitely seems like the kind of movie Deadpool would reference at this point of the film. The 2016 movie ended with him stapling Hugh Jackman's face over his face. Again. The storefronts behind them include Eastside Pharmacy.
I watched Face Off once. It was really good. It was really good. I want to rewatch it again.
Medical Center, and then Liefeld's Just Feet, Orthopedic Solutions, and amazing Easter egg. So Rob Liefeld is a co-creator of the Deadpool character, and he has been mocked over the years for his character designs with hulked out heroes with insane proportions, an abundance of pouches, and an apparent inability to draw feet. Notice that the sign also says quality assured, free consultation, custom footwear, 014-3877. So here in this void, the Rob Liefeld, or maybe his variant, who's a foot expert, got pruned from existence, and that could be why the Rob Liefeld of our reality is so bad at drawing feet. There's also a little Sage flowers and gifts. There's a mutant named Sage who was part of the Hellfire Club and recently played a big role on Krakoa, monitoring the gateway system and being part of X-Force. Now, in the car, Deadpool shows Wolverine his birthday party Polaroid with his friends, telling Wolverine, I don't know anything about saving worlds, but you do. So it seems like Wade's own reality is under threat. This could connect to the rumored plot device of anchors in this movie, where in every universe there exists one individual whose death triggers the collapse of their universe, like the Owen Reese molecule.
So,
Man plot and Jonathan Hickman's Time Runs Out storyline that leads into the 2015 Secret Wars event that Avengers Secret Wars will adapt.
So, if Tony didn't die and somebody else did, would that have not caused an anchor? So, Tony dying is what's going to cause the main MCU, or at least what we think is the main MCU world, anchored to, like, is that what's going to cause the Secret Wars thing also?
And maybe in Wade's universe,
That's an interesting like idea, because like you had I forgot what they called it in Multiverse of Madness, but is that both the same thing? But like anchors is like somebody, a main thing. Like I don't want to say it's the same thing. It's almost the same thing. I wonder.
It's this lonely, suicidal Wolverine in the bar whose soul Deadpool has to save to keep him in place as an anchor. But to save that soul, he has to figure out what makes all Wolverines tick, including this other Wolverine down in the void and other variants that we could see in this movie, like a patch Wolverine from the casino in the Super Bowl trailer, played by Daniel Radcliffe or Taron Egerton. Wait, DR on the katana. Could that be Daniel Radcliffe? I don't know why you would put the actor's name on the ends of his katanas. The more you use something, the more perfect it's gotta be. A suitcase you use once a year made you. It's on MeUndies. Good things come in these.com out of their metallic sheaths in his knuckles. And I feel like these slots would also have to be made out of adamantium to contain these claws so well so that
he even got the little metal cover. Oh my god,
it
bro.
didn't tear through the gloves. So from whatever timeline this Wolverine is
that
from,
looks
Professor
so
X
good.
and Beast and Forge or whoever it was had to get their hands on additional adamantium and create these awesome gloves. And while I assume the claws that we see here are VFX, they do add these little details to the metal, like surface texturing and smudges and reflections from the neighboring claws, and that all just make them feel real and super sharp. I just love this shot so much. Okay, next, some incredibly bloody shots in the snowy forest.
How
I just
like
love this shot.
Obviously it's most likely CGI, but how they get it to like pop out like that?
So much. Okay, next, some incredibly bloody shots in the snowy forest of Deadpool killing these TVA agents. And if you look closely, Deadpool is using a tree branch. So he must be stabbing through this TVA armor with such incredible force to be able to smash through the armor and send pieces of the armor flying upward like that. So we're pretty sure that this setting is North Dakota near the Canadian border, where in 2017's Logan and the Young Mutants spot the Reavers and X-24 on their way to freedom. And this is where Logan is buried. In the Super Bowl trailer, you can see in the background the truck that Richter overturned in that final battle. So maybe Deadpool, finding the felled tree that X-24 impaled Logan on to deliver that killing blow, considers this tree sacred with some kind of divine power, and he just decides to use a branch that he tore off of it to kill these TVA agents the way Logan died, so that they have to feel his pain for desecrating the sacred turf.
Damn.
Okay, the next shot shows the villain of this movie, Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin, coming from the open skull mouth of the corpse of a giant Ant-Man, which we do see a better shot of later.
Hold on, I real quick, like I know he's gonna go in depth with the supervillain, but this is such a creative idea. Like I know it's from the Old Man Logan comics, because I've seen the shots for it, but or the drawings for it. But this is such a dope like design, like a dead Ant-Man, and you're using it as a base. And use the mask to go. Oh my god, that's just, bro. That's the fact that they did this is
in this
amazing.
first shot, you see behind her what appears to be a wheelchair that she initially rolled up in, but now she gets up. Maybe a kind of like Willy Wonka, I can actually walk kind of fake out introduction. So could this wheelchair be Charles's chair? Did this Cassandra already kill Charles in her timeline? So just a reminder, Cassandra Nova is known as Charles Xavier's evil twin, but it's actually darker and crazier than that. Cassandra was really Charles's Mumudrai, which is a term from the Shi'ar Empire. The Shi'ar are an alien race who we spent some time with in episode 6 of X-Men 97. A Mumudrai
I haven't watched X-Men 97 yet, so that's gonna be on the list for the show reaction. So I haven't watched it yet, so I'm interested to watch
Is
it.
kind of like a
I
spiritual
heard good
cosmic
things about
shadow
it. I heard
self
good
that
things
every
about it.
person has. But in the case of Charles Xavier, his advanced telepathy caused his Mumudrai to manifest in flesh, a fetus joining him in the womb. These two fetuses fought, and Charles destroyed her, but part of her clung to life in a sewer.
They were beefing in the womb, bruh. They were beefing in the womb. Killing
grew
each other.
into Cassandra Nova, who comes back for revenge, and Grant Morrison's E is for Extinction storyline in 2001 and 2002. And she is one of the most savage villains in all of X-Men comics. And yes, she does actually wear a tan trench coat and pants and boots, looking exactly like this in the comics. So Cassandra in the comics finds in the jungles of Ecuador a master mold, a giant sentinel printing machine, and uses that and Boulevard Trask to print a wild sentinel, a three-headed kaiju that she deploys against Genosha to kill 16 million mutants. We actually see this massacre in X-Men 97, and we're kind of waiting to see if Cassandra Nova is behind this attack, or if it's the doing of another villain that they've introduced in the show, like Sinister, or maybe Bastion or Apocalypse, or maybe all of them. But I just love that casting Emma Corrin, who's best known for playing the younger Diana Spencer in The Crown, as someone who hates, above all else, an Englishman named Charles. That's pretty perfect, right? So Deadpool slashes his adamantium katanas at Wolverine's claws, and going frame by frame through this, I'm just so amazed at Hugh Jackman's rage that Deadpool would have the nerve. Deadpool crosses his katanas between the first and second of Wolverine's claws to stop the attack. And it looks like the swords have these golden edges. You actually see these golden edges in close-up later as this TVA tailor with the white gloves carefully slides these adamantium katanas into the sheaths on Deadpool's back. And in the CinemaCon footage, this is the guy who keeps slapping Deadpool's ass, and Deadpool tells the other TVA employee that this guy's a predator and they need to call HR. Now, this blue van seems to be the same bloody vehicle that Deadpool was in that Super Bowl trailer where the seats were covered in bloody Wolverine claw marks and Deadpool was like, wave them in. And now we see Wolverine responding to that, lunging toward Wade in the back seat of this van. But in a wide shot, Deadpool just suddenly flies up through the sunroof. What happened there? Notice you don't really see Wolverine in that particular shot of the car from the outside. And I feel like the slapstick physics could be explained by Deadpool planking atop Wolverine's body, and Wolverine is just like, get the hell off me, and thrust Deadpool in the air because he's so disgusted. And Deadpool just flies because, you know, he's like a super lightweight cartoon. Then we get this cool shot of Cassandra Nova sipping a teacup. I might be totally wrong about this, but her teacup looks like it might be patterned with the heraldry of Wrexham AFC. That's the football club owned by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. You do see what looks like a W and maybe the dragon, but instead of red, it's gold. I might just be seeing things there. But there is this wide shot of the purple cloud of Eliath covering the sun. And in this shot, you can see that it's not just Ant-Man's head. It is the entire giant
body. I thought it was just the head. So it's the entire body.
So this detail was inspired by Old Man Logan, the amazing.
I thought it was just the head and probably arms, boy. I didn't know it was the whole body.
Gnarly comic series where an elderly Logan partners with a blind Clint Barton.
Which, by the way, this is such a good series. I love Old Man Logan. I think I have like 2 comics of Old Man Logan, but I really wanted the rest of it.
On this crazy road trip across a post-apocalyptic.
Him and a blind Hawkeye is, come on, bro. With mutant incest cousins of Hulk, and you got Red Skull, who has collections of the Avengers in his room. In a room as a trophy room, bro. Come on, bro. It's such
America, where basically the villains have won, and at one point they pass the corpse of a giant Hank Pym. And now it's not clear if this giant Ant-Man is Hank Pym, which would be Michael Douglas, or Scott Lang, Paul Rudd. But if it is the latter, he could have come from the Battle of Earth in Avengers Endgame. Also, remember that in the Void in Loki Episode 5 was the giant helmet of Yellow Jacket that could be connected to this. But this helmet opens to reveal the skull with the teeth underneath. The fact that Cassandra Nova lives inside of this corpse is so cool. It reminds me of characters in the MCU using the skull of the Celestial Nowhere as a place to live. Also, the rumors that the corpse of Tiamat, the Celestial, could be used as the Avengers' new base, like how in the comics the Avengers turned the Progenitor into Avengers Mountain at the North Pole.
Is that what's gonna happen with the with that Celestial? Because everybody and me have been asking, what are y'all gonna do with it? And I haven't seen anything. So is that what they're gonna do with that?
Of Cassandra inside of this place later, it almost looks like she could be.
I mean, that'd be a cool base, but like, About time.
building some kind of Cerebro inside that skull, but I actually think this is specific to being Ant-Man's corpse. In Quantumania, Scott Lang entered the quantum realm's probability storm, where his brain became entangled with all other Scott Langs in the multiverse. And that could have done something to his brain matter, as well as the minds of all other Scotts. Like Cassandra could be using this particular weird brain to amplify her telepathy throughout the multiverse. Now, this giant Ant-Man reveal is just the master shot of the trailer because it has so much in it.
Wait.
So many.
Wait a minute. Lady Deathstrike, Toad. I forgot this dude's name. He was in First Class. And then there's Pyro. Okay.
So right up front there,
All right.
that's Azazel, the devilish teleporting member of the Hellfire Club from X-Men First Class, played by Jason Fleming. He's back, as well as Lady Deathstrike from X2 X-Men United, played by Kelly Hu. You can also see Aaron Stanford Pyro on the background right, seated on his vehicle as he was back in the SWORld trailer. And then on the left, that is Callisto, Danya Ramirez.
With her fine ass also. I didn't. Okay.
Here are the Omegas from X-Men: The Last Stand, and crouching beside her with the green hair, that is Toad. Ray Park, returning for the very first X-Men film in 2000. He also, of course, played Darth Maul in Star Wars: Phantom Menace. And then all the way on the left, in the foreground, you don't even really notice him at first because his face is covered, but notice that long blonde hair. I'm pretty sure this is Sabretooth, Tyler Mane, who would also be returning for that first film. Meanwhile, the bulky dude in the red and white striped shirt, this could be the Russian who is played by wrestler Kevin Nash in Thomas Jane's 2004 The Punisher. Now, what the mutant characters have in common is that they were all villains from the X-Men universe 10005, as it is currently designated, and all these characters died.
That's where they're from? 10005? That's the universe that X-Men, Fox X-Men.
Like Wolverine killed Lady Deathstrike by plugging her with liquid adamantium in Stryker's lab. Azazel was killed off screen by Bolivar Trask's experiments between X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. Toad and Sabretooth both died in the Liberty Island battle. Callisto was knocked out by Storm and was for sure obliterated by Phoenix when she wiped out everyone on Alcatraz. Pyro, presumed obliterated as well, but in the Days of Future Past Rogue cut, there is a memorial that includes Pyro's Zippo lighter, implying that he would have died sometime after that. I think the implication of the pruned 20th century Fox logo and the fact that it's not 21st century tells us that there was some incursion with Earth 10005 and that this entire history from the Fox era was erased. And maybe some souls might have been lucky and spared and reassigned to other universes, but these were the misfits who were left behind to waste. The vehicles in the shot are also worth mentioning because in the background on the left, that is the Fantastic Four Model 1, aka the Flying Bathtub, a version of which we saw in Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Shut up. A reference to Fantastic Four?
A movie that we're breaking down this weekend on New Rockstars. But
I mean, it is Fox. It is Fox, so it makes sense.
Is the V16 coupe of Red Skull from Captain America: The First Avenger.
Shit.
But notice in the next shot, that Hydra Mercedes hood ornament has been replaced with an Iron Man head. And it has been painted to have the flames on black decor of Tony Stark's Roadster hot rod from the 2008 Iron Man film. This is so cool. So my hot take is that the masked driver of this vehicle could be, wait for it, Terrence Howard, the original roadie, pruned to the void.
After, I don't know, after recent, that would be fire. That would be fire. But after recent, you know, after him going on Joe Rogan, I don't know. Maybe.
Now, Terrence Howard parted ways with Marvel under bitter terms before Iron Man 2 when Don Cheadle replaced him, but maybe the part as scripted in the script could give him a chance to get the last laugh. If it's not Terrence Howard, my guess is that it's going to be someone else from Tony Stark's orbit. Maybe Harley Keener, maybe Christine Everhart, or maybe William Ginter Riva. Like the guy could have figured out how to make something from a box of scraps. I just listed a couple lower tier actors because, you know, their budget for cameos is not unlimited in this movie. Also in the background of this V16 shot is the Golden Gate Bridge that was pruned from the events of X-Men: The Last Stand. We see Wolverine gargling with a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I assume this is his man cave where he lives. And we know from a later shot in the trailer that this is the same location that has the giant jawbone framed bed that Hulk slept on in Thor Ragnarok. There's a quick cameo by Dogpool wearing little shoes while the pup licks Deadpool with the longest, most disgusting tongue. And notice that they are in front of Liefeld's just feet as it explodes. Then we get this Mad Max Fury Road type shot of one of these scavengers reining 4 motorcycles like horses. The one closest to us is the Hydra motorcycle from Captain America: The First Avenger. You can see the Hydra logo near the bottom of it. One of these other motorcycles is definitely the one Steve Rogers rode in that film. The vehicle that they are towing is the one that has the Canadarm attachment used for the NASA Space Shuttle Columbia. And the dish on the end of that arm looks like the Bifrost pattern pattern, and I think it's used to repel or to summon Alioth. An explosion rocks these 4 guys, and if you look closely at the walls behind them, these are actually the gloved fingers of the giant 4 guys, and if you look closely at the wall to repel or to summon, and that's such a cool fingers.
They use the hands as a gate. That is so smart. Now the question is, does it go like this, or does it go like this? I gotta know. Like how does the hands go if the hands are there?
Of the giant Ant-Man functioning as the gates to this compound, and that's such a cool detail. In Cassandra's lair, Wolverine tries to attack, but she telekinetically redirects his arms into his own leg. Emma Corrin is so fun to watch here. The face they make as Cassandra puppets Wolverine, it's almost as if to say, wah wah, so close. Also, take a look at Cassandra's fingers.
Magneto
is it just me, or do they look super long? Did they digitally enlarge Emma Corrin's hands to make Cassandra look more villainous? I don't know, it may just be the anamorphic lens that they seem to be using for a lot of these shots. Like, it's especially noticeable in the money shot of the giant Ant-Man head compound where you see all the cameos. Like, notice how the edges of that frame are just kind of like a little out of focus, a little like artistic brushstrokey. That's what an anamorphic lens does as opposed to a spherical lens. But then we see Cassandra directing Wolverine's claws into the floor, and notice how even this floor is textured in some interesting way. It's almost like she scavenged this floor from somewhere else, and I want to say it could be like the walls of Camartage. It kind of just looks like there's different patterns and pieces to this floor with some like engravings on them. Okay, so Wolverine and Deadpool leap from their van, and the grip guards of Deadpool's katanas have these little engravings on them. Okay, so Wolverine and Deadpool.
This is such a good shot. I like that. I love this shot. This is such a good shot, bro. Oh my god.
Leap from their van, and the grip guards of Deadpool's katanas have these little Deadpool eyes on them. So when Deadpool stabs someone, the last thing they would see is just another little Deadpool face staring at them. Both Deadpool, then Wolverine say, "Let's go!" And then they take the huge leap from the eye hole of the Ant-Man skull, and then they leap into a sling ring portal. And one of these must have been cast by a sorcerer, maybe Doctor Strange, or Wong, or the Ancient One, or America Chavez, or Rintrah, or I guess technically Ned. In Spider-Man No Way Home, sling ring portals just like this were used to open a rift between universes to get the Andrew Garfield.
It's gonna either be Wong. It's gonna either be, I don't know if they're gonna take him back. I don't know, the way they did the way they did Deadpool 2, I don't know. I could see him ended up in Endgame. So either Endgame from Wong and Doctor Strange, it could be in Doctor Strange and a different, I don't know. It had to be some type of wizard.
And Tobey Maguire and Peter Parker's into the MCU. And I feel like that's where these two are headed. And I love how the lighting within Alioth behind this portal flickers just as they cross the portal threshold, which gives the shot some great purple versus gold color contrast as these two are silhouetted on white. And it recalls how in Spider-Man No Way Home, the purple reality rifts showed incursions between universes. Now notice how this trailer whites out the destination. I don't think it's gonna look like that in the movie. I think they just left it blank in this trailer to avoid a huge spoiler, and it lets our imaginations wander to fill in that blank canvas. But think about it. What setting would be so iconic that we would recognize it immediately? I'm thinking this is going to be one of the portals that Wong opened to the front line of the Battle of Earth and Avengers Endgame. And we're going to cycle back to that moment. And right as he says you wanted more, Deadpool and Wolverine are going to walk right into frame. And we're going to see a replay of the Battle of Earth. Like, we're going to hear Deadpool say, "I am Deadpool," as he snaps the Infinity Stone in Tony Stark's place to kill Thanos. Because the CinemaCon footage gave us this little tease that we see Deadpool in Thor's arms from Svartalfheim in Thor the Dark World, where Loki died. And Paradox says it's a distant future. But really, I think what they're saying with that is that Deadpool could cycle into any iconic MCU moment. So why not I Am Iron Man? And also in the CinemaCon footage, there was another moment that showed an earlier scene in the movie where Peter says, "We are Deadpool," and Deadpool rejects that. And I think the way Ryan Reynolds says, "I am Marvel Jesus,"
I am Marvel Jesus.
I think this is to set him up to say Tony Stark's big line to say the MCU's anchor, Tony Stark, for him to say, "I am Deadpool."
Theory.
But I just saw this. If you look closely, you can see
it makes sense. It makes sense. It's interesting, but I don't know.
Cassandra Nova to the left of Wolverine as he's jumping through the portal, just on the edge of the sparks there, in the background, smiling at them with a raised eyebrow. And I think that might be blood on her mouth. So clearly she wants them to make this jump, and maybe she plans on following them. Okay, the trailer ends with Wade and Blind Al at his birthday party, which was also in the CinemaCon footage.
Want to do some cocaine? Hey,
Cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even force bump.
So this pillow behind Al
White
is
girl
the
interrupted?
Smoko Macho Nacho Mochi plushie. It's a nacho dead from hot sauce. So basically what Conan O'Brien looks like now, I assume. Blind Al's cocaine calls back the past two films when their cocaine stash was hidden beneath the floorboards near The Cure for Blindness.
Why you smack himself with cocaine like that? He winded that up too. Like,
Cocaine
look
calls
at
back the
this.
past two films when their cocaine stash was hidden beneath the floorboards near The Cure for Blindness. Among their euphemisms for cocaine are White Girl Interrupted, a nod to the 1999 film with
White
Winona
Girl.
Ryder and Angelina Jolie and Brittany Murphy, as well as Forrest Bump, which, other than rhyming with Forrest Gump, I choose to think it's a reference to how Forrest Gump can't stop running, or maybe a reference to when Jenny tried to jump off a ledge after doing lines. Now, to be clear, cocaine
Can we all accept that Jenny was toxic in that movie and Forrest deserves better? I did not like Jenny in Forrest Bump. I'll say Forrest Bump. Oh my God, Forrest Gump. I did not like Jenny.
was referenced in the MCU in an episode of Ms.
Jenny,
Marvel. So Feige doesn't have that hard of a rule against it. But Blind Al ends this by saying, do you want to build a snowman? Of course, referencing Frozen. And Wade says that he does want to, but can't. And it reminds us how in Deadpool 2, Wade watches the Barbra Streisand musical film Yentl and makes this observation.
Can you hear me? Is it just me, or do you want to build a snowman from Frozen sound suspiciously like Papa Can You Hear Me from Yentl?
So we must end this trailer breakdown with our Taylor Swift Dazzler watch. If you have been following New Rockstars, you know that since the NFL playoffs, I've been looking closely at Taylor Swift's connections to Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy and Hugh Jackman to see if she could cameo in this movie, maybe to play the mutant Dazzler, as it seemed like she was expected to in 2016's X-Men Apocalypse, because she was like friends with Sophie Turner, and there's like a photo of her with like a Dazzler album cover. And I was totally ready to just give up on this theory, but then last week, Taylor Swift releases her new album, The Tortured Poets Department, and the final track on the standard edition of that album, Clara Bow, ends with her singing this word.
The future's bright, dazzling.
Dazzling. I mean,
look. He might be onto something, but this might also be one of those Mephisto things he's been going crazy. I don't know. He might be right on this one. This time he might be right. He might be right, but I don't know. Last time he was on this Mephisto train and we haven't seen it. I don't know.
Come on. Taylor Swift is known for Easter eggs in her songs pointing to her past boyfriends, including Tom Hiddleston, and her future career moves. I'm not saying this is like a smoking gun, but the clues are at least pointing in that direction. Comment down below with what you love the most about this trailer. Follow me at EA.
I don't know. He might be stretching on Mephisto, but yeah, man. I'm looking forward to Deadpool Wolverine. Thank you, Eric Voss and New Rockstars, for the breakdown, so we see what we missed and give hear interesting stuff that we might not know to get us ready. I like watching stuff like this. Like, it doesn't really spoil anything for me. It just gives me like context of what I'm about to see, and gives me a like knowledge of like, oh, I didn't know this. Okay, so this is her, da da da. And it's not to say the movie is not gonna explain certain stuff, but it's nice for me, at least. It's nice to know beforehand, before seeing this movie, to like get ideas. So like, yeah, I'm still going in like not knowing what I'm about to see, but at least I have an idea of like the structure, I think, if that makes sense, or like at least understand like certain stuff that Eric broke down to us. But yeah, man, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, man, I'm looking for the Deadpool Wolverine July 26th, bruh. July 26th. I'm be there. I'm enjoying my movie. I'm enjoying my popcorn, and we gonna get right. Deuces.